Hey friends, what's up? Ash here, welcome back to Gen Sense. Hope you're doing well. Today we're taking a look at the top 100 most popular men's fragrances released in the past 10 years. That's a lot of fragrances. And technically it's the past 11 years because I'm doing from 2014 to the end of 2024. All of these fragrances are pulled from Fragrantica.com. So I went there and I searched by men's fragrances by most popular, and these are the top 100. There's a lot to go over here. I'm not gonna link all of these in the description or anything like that. Let's get started. Number 100, Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. Now this is one that you might think would be ranked a little bit higher. It's really popular within the fragrance community, but not super popular with people at large. You know, we're not gonna confuse this in terms of popularity with something like Aqua de Jo, for example. But it's a great release, kind of an aquatic leather fragrance, which may not make much sense, but it works really well and has great performance. Number 99 is Carolina Herrera's Bad Boy. Yeah, the original Bad Boy, one spot above Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. And that's one I would actually think would be higher just because in terms of how much it's pushed out there, Bad Boy, you're gonna find a lot easier, at least in the US, compared to Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. But that one's a really good one. Bad Boy, Tonka forward kind of fragrance, really easy to wear, more like a fall winter time type scent. Number 98, Jean Lo Immortal. This one is a Maison Alhambra fragrance, which is a clone fragrance, and Maison Alhambra is part of Lattafa. And they actually changed the name of this one, so it's no longer Immortal, it's Immortelle. It's basically the same, except for an A at the end has been changed to an E. This one's a clone of Louis Vuitton's L'Immensity, and it's a pretty good one as well. 96 is Parfums de Marly's Perseus, which is a new release for 2024. It gets compared to the smell of Terre d'Hermès Eau Très Fraîche or Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre. Not really one of the biggest fragrance releases from Parfums de Marly, but still right there at the bottom of the top 100. Number 96, another fragrance from this year, Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Green Stravaganza. I think this one is okay, has kind of a fresh coffee aspect to it, which makes it a little bit unique compared to some other fragrances out there. But if we're talking the Born in Roma line, for me personally, I would take, Coral Fantasy over this one. I would take Yellow Dream over it. I would also take Intense over this one. Again, just my own personal taste. 95 is Sand Desert at Sunset from Zara. Obviously, with this being a Zara fragrance, it's really affordable, so you can pick it up on the cheap. And this one got a decent amount of hype, actually, when it first dropped. It's similar to Angel Share from By Kilian, actually done by the same perfumer as that fragrance. But for me personally, there are some other ones out there that I'd rather get instead of that one if I'm looking for a cheaper Angel Share alternative. Up next is Bulgari's Tiger, which is a fragrance that has been cloned 1,001 times. It's one of the most popular clone fragrances out there, pretty expensive, and it has a really appealing citrusy opening. That's a fragrance I actually like a lot. 93 is Invictus Victory from Paco Rabanne, and that fragrance changed up the Invictus style. It doesn't smell like all the other Invictus fragrances that came before it. Has a good amount of vanilla in there, so a really warm, sweet fragrance, great for fall and winter time, and one that I think smells absolutely fantastic. 92 is 1 Million Royal from, once again, Paco Rabanne. This one came out in 2023. It's got cardamom, tangerine, lavender, and benzoin as some of the notes. And it's another one that's good for fall and winter time. Maybe not like the biggest release from 1 Million, but still a solid one. 91 is Noir Extreme Parfum from Tom Ford. This is another one that I feel is a solid release, smells great. It is expensive because it's a Tom Ford and it is a parfum. So put those two together and that means it's costly, but it's worth the price. Came out in 2022, smells absolutely fantastic. Another one that has vanilla in there. It's vanilla forward along with coffee, cardamom, ginger, and leather. Also have some floral aspects as well, but a really, really solid release. Number 90 is Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum. And I think that if I were gonna take just one Luna Rossa Ocean, it may be that one. It sells really well, actually. Like as far as the sales numbers, Luna Rossa Ocean, at least last year, was one of the top 30 best-selling men's fragrances in the US, at least if I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, really popular, easy to wear, and in typical Prada fashion, has kind of a classy edge to it. Number 89 is Club de Nuit Intense Man Parfum. So yeah, it's an Aventus clone. It's Club de Nuit Intense, but just a little bit smoother, essentially, if you just make it really simplified. Number 88 is Eros Energy from Versace. And this is one that I really enjoyed this year. My wife loves that fragrance. It's another one that's extremely citrus forward. So if you don't like citrus in your fragrances, you're not gonna like that because it's got like 4 or 5 different types of citrus as soon as you spray it on. Some people have found similarities to Aventus Cologne and how it comes across, especially in the opening. But I feel like as time goes on and that one gets cheaper at discounters, it's gonna be a great one for late spring and summer. Number 87 is Ambassador by Gisada. And this is one that's been compared a little to the smell of Dior Sauvage, almost like Dior Sauvage with more of a fruity aspect to it, especially off the top. It's got a good amount of mango in there, apple, green mandarin, vanilla, and amber as well. It's a solid compliment pulling fragrance, and at discounters you can actually find that one for I think about 50 to 60 bucks. So a pretty good buy. By the way, if you do shop at discounters, I have a number of codes that you can use across a bunch of different discount websites to save some money. So those are in the description and here as well, in case you want to use those to save a little. Next up is Absolute Aventus from Creed. Had to figure that was going to be in the top 100 because anything with the name Aventus on it is probably going to be a pretty big release. In typical Creed fashion, crazy expensive, so a lot of people are not going to like that because of that fact. It's just kind of overpriced. But the fragrance itself does smell really nice, extremely versatile like you would expect. Just basically a scent that you can wear literally anywhere and you're gonna smell fantastic. 85 is Dior Sauvage Parfum, which that's not a bad ranking, you know, in the top 100, obviously pretty popular, but Parfum, in terms of popularity, does typically fall beneath the Eau de Parfum, the Eau de Toilette, and Elixir. Still, that's going to be similar to the original Eau de Toilette in terms of the overall makeup, the style of the fragrance, just a little bit deeper, richer, more mature, and a little classier as well. Number 84, Valentino Uomo Intense. Not Born in Roma Intense, the original Uomo Intense, which has a great iris aspect to it with a leathery undertone, similar in some ways to Dior Homme or Dior Homme Intense. I think it's an absolutely amazing fragrance. Like, as far as just the scent itself, I would bump that one way up. I think we're at 83. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Yellow Dream. So another Valentino right next to the Uomo Intense. Born in Roma Yellow Dream is a little bit similar to Stronger With You, how it comes across, but it has fresher aspect to it. It's got pineapple in there off the top and ginger as well. Gingerbread is one of the notes. That one you could wear pretty much year round, daytime or nighttime, just really versatile and easygoing. Nice sweetness to it too. Up next, Gentleman Eau de Parfum from Givenchy. This one, once again, an iris forward fragrance. It does get compared to Dior Homme Intense and actually Valentino Uomo Intense. So it has iris, vanilla, tolu balsam, tonka, little cinnamon and pepper as well. It's very spicy, warm, sweet, and classy. 81 is Paco Rabanne's Phantom, which is a fragrance that a lot of people love to hate. It is really sweet, but at the same time, it's a solid seller, it's very popular, and it does have good versatility as well. Like, this is a fragrance realistically you could wear all year round, daytime or nighttime, and if you're a younger guy, Phantom could work extremely well for you. I know the robot's a little bit cheesy, but you know, a lot of Paco Rabanne bottles are, so who cares? Number 80, Club de Nuit Iconic from Armaf. So another clone fragrance. That one gets compared to the smell of Bleu de Chanel, obviously from Chanel. And this one was launched with 3 other Club de Nuit fragrances all at the same time. I don't know actually if some of the other ones are higher up in this list. I'm assuming they are. I didn't go through this list beforehand, so we're just like doing it together essentially. But yeah, it gets compared to Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Typically a little bit more expensive than most other Armaf fragrances, so it may be questionable for some people if it's worth it, or if you'd rather just pay a little more and get the Bleu de Chanel. And by a little more, I mean like 2 or 3 times more. Number 79, Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes, which is once again Zara. This one gets compared to Louis Vuitton's Imagination. So again, this is gonna be more of a clone fragrance. And for me, I would say this one is a little bit better than the other Zara that we've already spoken about. Then we've got Gucci Guilty Elixir, yet another Elixir fragrance. And this one has a bit of a similarity to Reflection Man from Amouage and also Pegasus from Parfums de Marly, kind of like you put those together. It's pretty expensive, but the quality is nice and the fragrances as well. Then we have Louis Vuitton's Limensity up next. So we we talked a little bit ago about a clone of that fragrance being the most popular, and now the actual fragrance itself. Really solid one for spring and summertime, great daytime fragrance, very citrusy, high quality, but also expensive. Next fragrance up is Mustache Eau de Parfum from Rocus, which gets compared to the smell of Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. So that one really jettisoned up in terms of popularity when it dropped because it was pretty affordable from discounters, talking about Mustache Eau de Parfum. And because of that similarity to Tuxedo, for a long time, that was like the go-to cheaper alternative to the YSL. And for the price point, Mustache Eau de Parfum is a great buy. Then we have Scandal Pour Homme Le Parfum. So the first flanker for men in the Scandal line. I do think that one's just a little bit better than the original Scandal. It is a little bit less sweet, slightly more aromatic, more mature, classier, but still a great sexy fragrance for fall and winter. Then we've got Encre Noir All Extreme after that from Lalique, really cheap from discounters, like 25 bucks typically is what you're gonna pay for that. You can even find it sometimes less than that. Very rich, bold, and a little resinous as well. A lot of people prefer Encre Noir All Extreme over the original Encre Noir. After that, 1 Million Parfum from Rabanne. This one has kind of a sunscreen leather feel to it. Quite sweet, more for spring and summer, as long as you don't mind that sweetness. It's one that I'm not absolutely in love with, but I do know a lot of people really enjoy that one, and it works really well if you're looking for compliments, even though it's not really my thing. La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique after that, which is pretty funny to see it that high up. It shows how popular that was when it came out, but then it went away like that, at least in the US. It became very difficult to find all of 2 or 3 months after it was released. And essentially it smells like you took La Nuit de l'Homme, the original, and made it into a blue fragrance. That's basically what it is. Y Eau de Parfum Intense is up next. And that one is a little bit like an aromatic take on the Y DNA, another one that's a little more classy compared to some of the earlier releases in the line. Then Luna Rossa Ocean, the original from Prada. Pretty much what I said about Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum you can apply to this one. It's a blue fragrance, a little aquatic feel to it, and in typical Prada fashion has like a classy edge, like a little clean, almost soapy aspect to it. Another clone fragrance is up next, Supremacy Not Only Intense from Afnan. So this is a fragrance that gets compared to the smell of Hasavat. That's the fragrance that is more typically compared to or used as an alternative to. And that's one of the more respected Aventus style clones out there. Elysium Pour Homme Parfum Cologne from Raja Parfum is next up, which makes a lot of sense. Basically, it was one of the biggest niche blue fragrances when it was released. A little bit more affordable compared to the other Raja Parfum fragrances, and it does smell like an elevated blue scent. So people that were wanting something they could use all year round, they really gravitated towards that. After that, another niche fragrance, Mancera Intense Cedrat Boisé, which makes perfect sense once again. And actually, I kind of like Intense Cedrat Boisé a little bit more than the original Cedrat Boisé. That being said, if the Intense version was a lot more expensive, I wouldn't pay more for it necessarily, but if they were pretty close in price, I would get this one. Then we have Dior Homme Cologne, technically Dior Homme Cologne 2022. Gets compared to the smell of like iced lemonade, perfect for summer when it's really, really hot outside, very refreshing, very brisk. The issue with that one, performance not so great. Halloween Man X is next up, and that's a fragrance I love. Really cheap, so if you can get that from discounters, like 30 bucks, it's a good buy. It does have a lot of coffee in there, leather, and kind of a boozy aspect, so you have to like those notes, otherwise you're not gonna dig it. Prada Luna Rossa Carbon up next, which is essentially Prada's version of Dior Sauvage, just a little bit smoother, cleaner, easier to wear for a lot of people who don't want it as aggressive. And then another Prada L'Homme Intense, which is probably my favorite in the Prada L'Homme lineup. Still has that iris aspect from the original Prada L'Homme, but made more masculine and given a leather undertone. Parfums de Marly Halton up next, which smells very similar to Iniciosa Oud for Greatness, just with a more masculine tinge. Bad Boy Cobalt from Carolina Herrera is the next fragrance, and that is the most popular of the Bad Boy fragrances for men. So the original one way down there at, I think it was 99, this one a little bit higher up. It smells similar to Invictus Platinum, very wearable, has a nice sweetness to it, and a little aromatic touch as well. Then Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre from Hermès, which that one has a great citron opening. So it's citrusy, a little bit natural smelling, slightly rindy, but very fresh, then has a great woodiness as it dries down. That one is followed up by the new iteration of Dior Homme Sport. I say new, but it's been out for a few years. That version of Dior Homme Sport is similar to Dior Homme 2020, but made a little bit fresher, a little cleaner, and with the woodiness dialed down a little bit. Honestly, good for pretty much year round. It's not really a gym fragrance, it's an anytime fragrance. 1 Million Elixir by Rabanne after that. Very sweet scent. Good compliment puller, great performance, but you have to enjoy vanilla. Bulgari Man in Black, the original, is next up. That fragrance, similar to Spice Bomb, the original Spice Bomb from Viktor and Rolf, has a really pleasant, boozy sweetness to it, along with leather, spices, tobacco. Very rich, good performance, a lot going on, just a great release. But it's beaten out by one spot, by Wanted by Night from Azzaro. That's a fragrance I love. Wanted by Night is one of my jams. I think that that's a great, unique fragrance as far as how it smells versus everything else out there. Good sweetness, great spiciness, but at the same time, it's wearable, even though it is unique. Then we have Dior Homme 2020, which just barely beat out Dior Homme Sport. That is a complete reworking compared to the original Dior Homme. Doesn't have that iris, instead now it's fresh, spicy, woodsy. It is really classy though, very versatile. And then 1 Million Lucky after that. We're starting to get some heavy hitters. That's another one I think is just about a year-round fragrance. It smells absolutely fantastic. I love the plum note that's in that one. Then there's Mercedes-Benz Club Black after 1 Million Lucky. And Mercedes-Benz Club Black, don't get it twisted, does not sell as many bottles as 1 Million Lucky or Bad Boy Cobalt, for example. But within the fragrance community, really, really popular because it doesn't cost that much. From discounters, you can get it cheap. And it's great for wintertime if you love, once again, vanilla. Good quality on that. Y Le Parfum is next up from Yves Saint Laurent. Very similar to Y Eau de Parfum, though this one is a little bit less sweet, a little bit classier overall. Boss Bottled Elixir by Hugo Boss is after that. Boss Bottled Elixir is another one that I love. Spicy, woodsy, very masculine. Then we have Fakar Black from Lattafa, and that is a clone fragrance. Once again, that is a clone of Y Eau de Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. Great bang for your buck. You can get that a lot of times under 20 bucks, and for that cost, it's worth picking up. Luna Rossa Black by Prada is after that one. That is my favorite Luna Rossa. I think it smells, once again, really unique compared to most other fragrances that are available on the market today. Good amount of tonka in there, really nice and sweet, but also has like a dark kind of side to it. Emporio Armani Stronger With You, the original, the next fragrance. And that one set off a big line. It changed about everything because there are a lot of fragrances that came out after Stronger With You that were clearly inspired by Stronger With You. After that one is Afnan's Tarothi Blue. Again, a clone fragrance. And this one used to be a little bit cheaper, but it got very popular and that caused its price to rise a little bit. So this one nowadays, about 35 bucks. At one point in time, you could get it for less. And that is a clone of Bulgari's Tiger. You remember earlier I said it has a lot of clones? That's one of them. Eros Eau de Parfum is after that, which is a great release. Really enjoy Eros Eau de Parfum. Great Goldilocks kind of fragrance. You know, in between the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum, it's got some of that playful nature of the EDT, but a little bit more mature. So for a lot of people, that's gonna be the best one. Invictus Victory Elixir from Rabanne is after that one, which is, again, a favorite of mine. Has a little similarity to like Le Beau from Jean Paul Gaultier with a sparkling vanilla off the top. Fall and winter masterpiece. Then we've got Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. That is, for most people, the most popular of that line. Great cherry note in there, really attention grabbing. Then Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal Pour Homme, the original Scandal, up next. And that's one that has consistently gotten more popular over time. When Scandal first dropped, when it very first released, it didn't really hit in a huge way. It's just one of those ones that's kind of picked up momentum as time has gone. Then we have Armani Code Parfum from Giorgio Armani. That one, a great blending of fresh notes and classier, deeper notes. Bleu de Chanel Parfum is after that one, which is probably the best blue fragrance in the designer realm if you're looking for something that has a great classiness to it, that's very versatile, easy to wear, and would work well during cooler weather. Then there is Mont Blanc Legend Spirit after that one, which smells similar to Invictus Aqua. It's also really cheap, so that's one of those fragrances that a lot of people have picked up over time just because it's not very hard to pick up. You know, spend 20, 30 bucks and get a bottle. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma after that, and that's a fragrance that has been compared to the smell of Invictus. So we got two in a row that are kind of Invictus-y. That being said, Born in Roma has a little more of a minerality to it. It's not as sickly sweet as the original Invictus, and I think overall is the better fragrance if I were gonna pick one from the two. After Born in Roma is Born in Roma Coral Fantasy, right next to each other. Coral Fantasy, really nice. Great apple opening in there, really attention grabbing, has some sweet tobacco as it dries down. That's another one I think you could use pretty much year round. And then we have Acqua di Gio Parfum, which the current version, the current iteration of Acqua di Gio Parfum smells a bit similar to Acqua di Gio Profumo, which is discontinued and expensive if you want to pick up a bottle. And of course, you know, I love Acqua di Gio. Moschino Toy Boy after that. Yeah, Toy Boy, more popular than all the fragrances we've talked about so far, at least on Fragrantica. Now, Toy Boy's not gonna outsell most of those fragrances, but it is certainly more unique than most of them. Floral forward and very different as far as men's fragrances go. Dior Homme Parfum after that, which is just an absolute masterpiece. Dior Homme Parfum is fantastic. That is like the pinnacle of the Dior Homme fragrances as long as you like Iris. That's why I had to include 2014 so I could get that one in there. It is expensive though, so be aware of that. After that, Stronger With You, absolutely. Just some absolute crushing fragrances here. Love that one. I think the Stronger With You DNA really shines with that additional golden rum that they put in there. Fall and winter, absolutely perfect. Then Sauvage Eau de Parfum by Dior after that. A little bit smoother than the Eau de Toilette, has a nice vanilla sweetness to it. Noir Extreme by Tom Ford is the next fragrance. For a lot of guys out there, Noir Extreme is gonna be one of the go-to men's fragrances from Tom Ford that's not in the Private Blend lineup. That Colfie note helps set it off. And then we have Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense after that, which I can still remember when that first hit. People were very excited about that one. Nice evolution of the light blue DNA. Has a nice salty aquatic aspect that works really well in summer. Le Beau after that from Jean Paul Gaultier. Tropical, sweet, fresh, easy to wear in spring, summer, and fall. Really good for compliments. The one Eau de Parfum from Dolce & Gabbana, one spot above Le Beau. One of the best date night fragrances ever. Acqua di Gio Profumo from Giorgio Armani is next up. Remember, I just talked about Acqua di Gio Parfum is kind of like this now. Acqua di Gio Profumo unfortunately discontinued, but when it was out, it was pretty much the most popular Acqua di Gio as far as the overall opinion of the community. Prada L'Homme follows that one. Very clean, soapy, easy to wear, great office scent. The Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense is next up, which is one of the best-selling fragrances of that style today, that kind of warm, sweet, almost edible style of fragrance. Myself Eau de Parfum by Yves Saint Laurent is the next fragrance, which is enormously popular. Clean laundry kind of smell, extremely versatile, easy to wear. Louis Vuitton Imagination. We are getting close. Another citrusy, fresh one, very expensive though. Acqua di Gio Profundo, one spot above that, which is my personal favorite Acqua di Gio. A little bit greener, more minerality, and more masculine than the original Acqua di Gio. Reserve Privé in the Gentleman line does beat Acqua di Gio Profundo, which I'd say is the most popular in the Gentleman line. Has a nice boozy note that's added in there, and a bit of a nuttiness as well. Hawass from Rasasi beats all of those, and that one is a fragrance that's very reminiscent of Invictus or Invictus Aqua. Then we have Explorer from Mont Blanc, which is very reminiscent of Creed's Aventus, followed by Le Beau Paradise Garden, which I think is the most popular release from this year. So that's the biggest one, at least as of right now. I'm sure as time goes on, it may move up a bit more. Really do enjoy that. Has a green aquatic feel to it. Again, very sweet, has fig and coconut also, but it is bested by the Most Wanted Parfum, which beats all of the other The Most Wanted fragrances. All two of them. Very similar to the other Most Wanted, with red ginger and a touch of like smoky woods in there. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense is the next one, and that is my personal favorite in the line. Vanilla, lavender, and vetiver. Not a whole heck of a lot going on note-wise, but a great fragrance. Altair from Parfums de Marly is the next one. Very sweet, warm, and another one great for fall and winter time. Has a really appealing praline aspect to it. That is followed by Ultramall from Jean Paul Gaultier. A lot of Jean Paul Gaultiers on here. Ultramall at one point in time was a hype monster. Like everybody wanted it. Everybody was talking about it. Really good for fall and winter. Good evening fragrance, night out fragrance, very sweet and attention grabbing. Follow that with another clone, Assad from Lattafa, which is a clone of Dior's Sauvage Elixir. And for the price point, a good one. Eros Flame is next. Eros Flame, what are you doing here? That is above a lot of stuff. But there it is, Hero's Flame. It's a good flanker, don't get me wrong. It actually grew on me a bunch. I really enjoy it. Just kind of a surprise that it's that high. Then we have Sauvage Elixir from Dior, just barely beating out Assad. And that's another one I would have maybe expected a bit higher. Great performance, little throwback feel to it. Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette is after that one. So got all the Sauvage stuff coming in right here. And Sauvage Eau de Toilette is one of the best-selling men's fragrances of all time, insanely popular. Club de Nuit Intense Man though, one rank higher. We talked about Club de Nuit Parfum a while ago. Club de Nuit Intense Man, it is an Aventus clone. Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum follows that up, which I believe that's the most popular Bleu de Chanel on here. We're finally getting close to the end here. Versace Pour Homme Dylan Blue is number 8. So Dylan Blue, at least as of right now on Fragrantica, more popular than Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum and Dior Sauvage. It is cheaper. It is cheaper. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm just saying, like, whoa, unexpected. Number 7, Spice Bomb Extreme from Viktor and Rolf. Another one that's a big hype beast and a beastly fragrance in terms of performance. Number 6, 9 PM from Offnon, another clone. That one of Ultramall. So the clone beating the fragrance that it is similar to. Number 5, Y Eau de Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent. That is the top rated, most popular blue fragrance of all of these. It is quite sweet, good performance, big attention grabber. Number 4, Le Beau Le Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier. I do have to say that I would probably, if I could only choose one between the original and Le Parfum, I would probably take Le Parfum. A little more push to it, but makes it less suitable for summer. That being said, it is one of the best attention-grabbing, compliment-pulling fragrances on the market today. Number 3, Stronger With You Intensely, which is now available in the US and at a pretty good price point, even at retail. So that's just gonna continue being very popular, I would imagine. Number 2, Le Male Le Parfum from Jean Paul Gaultier, once again. An evolution of the original Le Male DNA, made a bit deeper, richer, darker, classier, sexier. And then number 1 is Le Male Elixir from Jean Paul Gaultier. I think a lot of that is due to TikTok. I know that people on TikTok are really about Jean Paul Gaultier, and they have some amazing fragrances, don't get me wrong, but I think that's one of the reasons that they've just like shot up this website in terms of popularity, just like. That being said, Le Male Elixir, that's not a terrible choice. I really love that one. It is probably my favorite Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance in the, well, it definitely is in the Le Male line as of right now. That's the one that I wear the most. And I love the honeyed kind of sweetness that it has, and that little step, that evolution past Le Male Le Parfum. Whew. So there we go, guys. That is the top 100 as of today, as of right now. As time goes, that will change. As people, you know, really enjoy new things or old things become popular again, they may move up, they may move down. But at this snapshot in time, that's what it is. Thank you guys for hanging with me so much. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.